Making a config is really easy, but you probably don't even know how to configure one properly, or takes you tons of time. I'm going to show you how to make one that bypasses every server in just under 200 minutes with detailed explanations. The first and most important thing we're going to config is the aim assist. Going to make it a bit stronger, and as you will see by the end of the video, all I have to do is just press W and Prestige will do the rest for me. So, at first we bind the module to any key you like, so you can easily toggle it off when we don't need it. As you can see, I'm binding this module and several others to the keybind G. And since we are making a simple thread-only config, we only need it to make it aim at other players and not crystal. For the mode, we set it to both. Get the most efficiency out of it. Then for the visible timing, you can just set it to 0 to make it react instantly. Smoothing is a bit confusing. If you set it to 1, you'll notice that it feels like the aim assist isn't working at all, but at 0 it's more like an aimbot. I'll just set it to around 0.1. Now, the FOV, which is also really important. I would recommend you to make it match your current length FOV, get the most out of it, but still looking legit. But obviously, don't go too high, as we have set our smoothing speed really low, which will make you look blatant if you set it for example to 180. My current length FOV is 90, so I'll also set my Prestige FOV to 90. For the range, I like using 4.5 or 5 blocks, which is perfectly locked into the aim flow. The randomization can be left at the default 0.1, so we don't always aim at only one spot. Then we want to set the hitbox target to the eyes of the enemy, so that we can maximize our reach. As you can see, I skipped a bunch of combat modules. Most of these are crystal PvP related modules, but I also really want to make this more of a ghost-like config than of a complete blatant one. But if you want to have one, let me know. Next, we're going to bind Nomicillate to our same key as aim assist. Now, the second most important model we have is Triggerbot, which will perfectly swing your hits. Again, we are binding it to a key of our choice, which we have used previously. Then, for the targets, we set them again for players, as we only do sword PvP. Now, for the cooldown progress, I keep mine at 90%, also have a higher ping on the server, and this should be fine. But you can also set it to 100% to always get perfect hits with low ping. I want Prestige to hit 100% of the time, I set the chance to 100% and reaction to 0. I'm keeping the cryo weapon on because it's a really nice quality of life addition, and turning in air and crit timing on to make perfect hits in air. Then if you want, you can also turn criticals on, but we don't really need it, and in case we suddenly need to crystal PvP, turn crystal optimizer on. Then for fast plays, we turn blocks only on, as this really is a feature we want to use. Then for the min and max speeds, we want to set it to 1 to be fast enough to place blocks when we need them, but don't be too obvious where others think that we are using auto clicker. For the movement section, turn on auto jump reset, which is a form of legit velocity. It can be replicated in vanilla Minecraft. By the chance, I'm turning it all the way up to 100%, as I never had any issues with it, and I really want to showcase Prestige's power. FreeCam is a really useful module and we need it, so I'm binding it to L. I don't toggle it unintentionally. For jump delay, again, is a really huge quality of life module, so we won't have to spam or spacebar whenever we want to hit head ourselves. Then sprint, which is also a big quality of life module that automatically sprints for you, turn we also on. Then for the visual category, ESP is really useful for maps where players are underground and you need to hunt them, just like my map, which is linked down below. So, as we only need to see other players, we turn players on. But if you want to play on the pay-to-win server, Donut SMP, Prestige even has a storage bypass to see chests and barrels, even though no other players can. For the HUD, I only need the watermark in the module list to see all of my enabled modules, but you can also keep the other settings enabled if you want to. Then comes no render, another enormous quality of life module. Really didn't think you needed it until you turned it off. It's so many improvements, just insane how people play Minecraft without it, especially Fulbright. As you can see, it's a complete game changer. Also no particles and no hurt cam are so useful. Now the only things left to do are save the config and enjoy how you don't have to do anything anymore. To save the config, simply press the browse config button, and on your personal tab you can name the config, for example Diedrich save, and give it a description like very safe config for your main. Then I'm choosing public mode so that you guys can simply use my config from the public tab, which you're going to see in just a second. After that, simply press the create button and now go to the public tab. You can see that the config has been created and you can download it. Just make sure that the author am I, Diedrich, not some other person, to make sure that config is actually safe. So, as you saw in the background footage, I was able to animate each of my 15 battles easily without literally doing a single thing. And keep in mind that this was a very safe ghost config. Just think what happens if you turn it into a blatant config. If you want to purchase Prestige, you can do that from Spes, link down below. It costs $10, however, their often sales will cost $2 less. But then you have to be fast to actually get the license key, as they very quickly sold out. And I'm pretty sure that there will also be a Christmas or a New Year's sale. If not, we're going to drop each sale until New Year's Eve with Code Nitro, one with 2 boosts in my YouTube community tab. And if you want to get another version of Prestige, you want to watch this video next.